Alright, so welcome to a sample problem for management fees for Papua New Guinea taxation. Okay, so remember in the discussion in management fees under section 68 AD, there'll be restriction of deductibility to associates. So when you say associates, those are business relations, and also it may include personal relations such as brother or sisters, or parent, son, daughters, between siblings. Okay, so any payment made to the associate, there will be restrictions on deductibility for tax purpose. So in determining that one, you can use this formula based on section 68D. So it depends on 2% of assessable income or 2% of allowable deduction excluding the management fee. So the law said the higher between these two will be the restriction. So in our illustration here, ABC Limited with sole shareholder Mr. A hire his brother Mr. Z. Mr. A paid Mr. Z 60,000 kina as management fee or fees. During the taxable year, the allowable income of ABC Limited, which is of course owned by Mr. A, is 1.2 million kina, while allowable deduction, which includes the management fee to Z, Mr. Z, was 800,000 kina. Now, the realistic amount for Mr. Z's work is 30,000 kina. So we are required to determine how much will be the allowed management fee for tax purposes. So, referring to the requirement or the provision under ITA, section 68 AD, we will use this. Now, 2% of 1.2 million, that is 24,000, while 2% of allowable deduction excluding management fee, we have to remove that 60,000 from 800,000 kina. Okay, the difference between the two, you multiply by 2%, you have 14,800. Now the realistic cost or amount here, 30,000 kina, is also used as a restriction. So in this case, we can compare three amounts: 24,000, 14,800, and then 30,000. Remember, in the provision of the law, it says in ITA 1959, it says the higher between the 2% of assessable income or allowable deduction. But of course, you have to refer to the realistic cost. Now, the realistic cost in this case is greater than both amount calculated, 2% of assessable income and allowable deduction. But remember, we are talking about restriction. So in this case, 30,000, even if it is the realistic cost, cannot be claimed as allowable management fee, because remember, if you refer to the section 68 AD, it talks about the restriction also on 2% of assessable income and 2% of allowable deduction excluding management fee. So in this case, the allowable management fee is 24,000 kina. But in case where realistic cost is lower than 24,000 kina, let us say it's 20,000 kina, then the realistic cost will be the allowed deduction. So to continue the calculation, you can have this, and then so we have to adjust allowable deduction. We have to remove the paid management fee, and then we have to include 24,000 because that is the allowed management fee. And that's it for my presentation. Thank you for listening and watching. Hope you learned something.